evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Architects Fast Forward webinar series. My name is Lillian, and I will be your moderator. Architects Fast Forward is a webinar series focused on the holistic perspective from the industry. Each session brings together collaboration from the industry with renowned architecture and building professionals, sharing their experiences from various perspectives, including industry, business, and education, to address current key issues and topics. Please note that this session is CPD applicable. To claim your CPD point, please follow the instructions in the comment section. Thank you for taking your time today to join us in the webinar series. We would like for you to do a quick and short survey through the link, which is also now being broadcasted on the comment section, to let us know how you think of our Architects Fast Forward webinar series after the session. This webinar is themed Green Design, Green Pest Management. Architects, builders, and engineers need not be an entomologist or pest expert, but understanding the importance on the structural pest species is essential in order to make the best design choices. Ants, cockroaches, termites, rats, birds, and other urban species are often strongly affected by our warm and humid climate, speeding up their life cycles and higher population. In this session, gain insights from Carron as she shares with you the importance of an entomologist's input that will assist architects in designing a greener space with a perspective towards green pest management. Our speaker this evening is Ms. Carron Lee. She is the council member of Malaysia Green Building Council for the year 2020 to 2021 and co-chair for academic and research in the organization. She is an entomologist by profession and has been in the pest management industry for 18 years. Graduated from University Science Malaysia, majoring in entomology. She is equipped with pest management knowledge from technical to business management. Her strength is in doing field data analysis, inspection, auditing, and consulting in her respective field. She is also passionate in the green building sector and has a good combination of exploration in problem solving for various industries and sectors such as commercial buildings. With that, let me introduce the speaker for today, Ms. Carron Lee. Hi, Carron. How are you? Carron, your mic is on mute. Carron?
Okay.
Okay, right. Okay, now we got you. Okay, how are you today?
Okay, I'm doing fine, thanks.
That's great. All right, the stage is yours. Do share with us.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Lillian. Okay, hi everyone. Good evening. So I'm Carron. So I'm from Malaysia Green Building Council. And before I move to my topics that is a green design and green pest management, let me give you a brief introduction about Malaysia GBC. Okay, our roles, responsibilities, and impact to the environment. Okay, let me brief you about the function between Malaysia GBC and Green Building Index. Our roles and responsibilities. For GBI means Green Building Index. Green Building Index actually is formed by two associations, that is a PAM and ACAM, and is registers and accredited buildings that issue green cost certs to be endorsed by LAM. So they conduct GBI facilitator training courses jointly with MGBC, and they registers facilitators. Whereas for MGBC role, we fully focus on membership, and we are actually NGO. Okay, so we promote the GBI rating tools, and we promote issues on green buildings, publishes Green Pages Malaysia. We conduct GBI facilitated training courses jointly with GBI, and we run CPD courses, okay, for green building segment. Okay, what is our key role here for MGBC? Our key role here actually is we collaborate and do a lot, and we get a lot of support from government and industry to develop a sustainable built environment. Okay, to facilitate exchange of knowledge in the field of a sustainable built environment, and to be reference center for sustainable built resources. We have our another team that in charge of the resources, green building sustainable resources, and we also add like a platform for networking on sustainability matters nationally and internationally. We promote and stimulate demand for sustainable buildings, support, promote, and provide input to Malaysia Green Building Index. Malaysia GBC actually is the only Malaysia representative for World Green Building Council. Okay. Okay. Malaysia is an established member under World Green Building Council. So you see, there are actually Asia Pacific. Asia Pacific, you have Malaysia, New Zealand, and Philippines, and Malaysia is one of them under established members. What does the established members mean? So let me move into this. In World Green Building Council, there are three types of membership. The first one is prospective, emerging, and established. So prospective membership means those countries which are not mature yet, but they have the goal to move or drive the country to green building sector. So that is the moment which the stage is they gather a lot of people and they're trying to form the council. So those countries is falls under prospective membership. Emerging membership. Emerging membership means the council is already formed and they actually have hired administrator to run the things and try to recruit members to be on board and start coming up with their own goals and KPI to be achieved. That is emerging membership. And established membership. Established membership means the council represent the country is very mature already, just like Malaysia. Okay, we have been running for about 10 years, and we have our own team, our own council members, we have our own secretariat, and we know what are we doing, and we work very closely with our country local authorities. So Malaysia is classified as established member, and we are one of the 37 established members worldwide. Okay, we do have green pages Malaysia. So these green pages act like yellow pages. Like last time we used to have yellow pages. So these green pages is very useful for those industry who wants to move into green building direction. So all the information, products, and services which has been certified and information will be published under Green Pages Malaysia. So if you are into green building direction, you must grab one of our Green Pages Malaysia. Okay. So let me show you what is inside these green pages. So this is the sample. On the left is the cover, and on the right, so we will showcase your company name and then applicable GBI credits and the contact info, everything. So that it's easier for anyone who wants to source for green building supplier. They can straight away move into it. How about Malaysia Green Building membership requirements? Okay, so earlier I have introduced about World Green Building Council. So let us focus in Malaysia. In Malaysia, we have about 7 categories. We have professional members. What do you mean by professional members? Professional members are those members who have their professional titles, that is AR for architect, IR for engineer, SR for surveyor. Okay, so those are classified as professional members. Next is corporate members. Okay, corporate members is inclusive of those engineer who has not get their title as IR and surveyor as well, and other professional who is related or contribute to green building segment, they are actually falls under corporate members. Like me, I am fall under corporate members. So the next category is academic members. Okay, what do you mean by academic members? Academic members are specially classified for those lecturers. Okay, they are academic. So those lecturers who are running research on green building, yeah, please join us. Okay, we do welcome academic members. Next is associate members. Associate members means those those people who does not fall under professional, corporate, or academic categories, but you actually contribute or your current work scope related with green building, do write to us. We will go through it, and if let's say you are suitable, you will fall under associate members. Student members, yes, we do not forget about our beloved students. Okay, even though you are still students, we welcome you to be on board. Okay, when you join us, we will explore you more on what is going on in the green building before you come out to the society. So do join us, students. The next one is industry partners. Industry partners is we would like to collaborate more with those corporate companies who contribute to green building sector also. So this category is specially customized for those corporate companies. Okay. Institutional partners. Institutional partners is mainly for those like non-profit organization. If you are running an association and you also feel that organization or association can work together with MGBC for a better tomorrow of the green building segment, do join us. So these are the categories of our membership in Malaysia GBC. Okay, so that's a very short, brief introduction about Malaysia GBC. So let me move into the topic of discussion today or my presentation, that is a green design, green pest management. When you talk about pest management, what are the controlling method? Okay, in pest management industry, we actually simplify it. We have three types of category. First is biological control. They are scientists doing research and focus to come up with all those biological control method in order to control the pest. Chemical control. Chemical control is what you normally see the pest control operators are doing now. They use a chemical application to control or to manage the pests at the surrounding. Next is physical control. Physical control is what I'm going to tell you in details today. How can we use non-pesticide or non-chemical approach in order to repel the insects from invading the internal compound of the building. Okay. Let me give you a very simple example of biological control. There are many types of biological control out there, but I just want to get an example which is a very simple one so that every one of you will understand. Let's focus on this mosquito biological control. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of Tosorhynchitis species. Tosorhynchitis species, this is a giant mosquito which you can hardly see. If you want to see, normally they appear at the forest, okay, and they are the biggest size of the mosquitoes among all the species. Okay, picture number 2 is to show you the differences in size between Tosorhynchitis larva and other species of mosquito larva. So you can see the mini, like Tom and Jerry like that. So the small larva is what you normally see in the stagnant water. Those are the normal species of mosquitoes larva. Whereas on the right is giant, definitely because the adult is already a giant mosquito. So that is Tosorhynchitis larva. Okay, that's the size of it. And the third picture, can you see Tosorhynchites species larva actually is a carnivorous. Okay, they bite those small larvas. So if let's say the small larvas actually is a Aedes larva, they are actually doing a biological control. So they actually help us to suppress the population of the Aedes population. So isn't it good? And this is what you call biological control. And I have left out one point is, even though Tosorhynchites species mosquito is very big, it's a giant mosquito, the good thing about it is the adult is not a blood sucker. So you do not have to worry they will actually suck your blood. They don't feed on blood. What do they feed on? They feed on plant sap. Okay, that's the good thing about Tosorhynchites. Okay, from now on, let us focus on physical control green design. Why is it important? Because architect is very important. You design the building and it actually does, your design does not just give a positive impact to the green building environment, but pest prevention as well. So if you understand all the points from pest perspective, you actually helping the environment, not helping the industry, helping the world to suppress the population of insects infestation. You do pest prevention by design. You are designing pests out of structures. Benefits of pest preventive techniques at the design stage. During the design stage, it is always good that you can bring in an entomologist to be on board so that they can actually run a lot of analysis and informing the architect what are the perspective that you need to look into. Just for this, simple design features can reduce long-term pest control costs in buildings and landscapes. This is definitely true. In the end of this presentation, you will understand why and how we can work together and help the building owner to reduce the long-term pest control costs, especially termites. Okay. Second thing is cutting the health and environmental impacts of pesticide use. Yes, when you talk about green building, everyone comes to your mind is, if can, I do not want any pesticide to be applied in the building. But how to do it? Insects is a living organism. You must understand, in this industry, pest management, we are dealing with living things. Okay, no matter how we do, also the pests will run away. The insects can fly everywhere and crawl everywhere. That's why we are dealing with living organism. Okay, so how can we move into it? This data actually I extract it from Pest Prevention by Design of San Francisco Department of the Environment. This is a very powerful and very useful table for entomologists, okay? Because every insect carry the size. So in order for us to in order for us to recommend those physical barrier, we must know what type of size and the specs to be installed. Okay, so you can see the table actually that involve houseflies, mosquitoes, termites, bats, mice, rats, pigeons. So those are the very common ones. How do we start about it? The first thing at the design stage, what can an entomologist do in this? Very important thing is we need to carry out an analysis. Analyze physical context for each building situation. If let's say you have the site, you want to build a building, before you come up with your beautiful design, if let's say we go and carry out a survey, especially during this stage, you will have land surveyor. We have to work together with land surveyor. When they carry out the task, let them pick up the points from the entomologist and work together. That is a cost saving already. Okay, so we need to survey whether there's any seashore at the surrounding, whether there's any waste dumping area at your construction site, whether there's any wet market, seafood restaurant at the surrounding again, and temples as well. Why is it important? Okay, let's say flies. Fly can actually fly up to 5 to 20 miles according to research. This research has been done by many scientists and lecturers. So 5 to 20 miles is about 20 to 30 kilometers. Yes, they can fly. Okay. And fly detect odors with their antenna and can detect from 7 kilometers away. So fly can sense, their sensitivity is very high. And mosquitoes. Mosquitoes is the breeding ground. You have to see the surrounding, whether there's any potential uh, breeding ground for the mosquitoes. From there, actually, we'll use a machine. What we will do is we will capture and do identification of the mosquitoes. When you talk about mosquitoes in Malaysia, we are very worried about dengue fever. So the first thing when you talk about mosquito is you want to zoom in at this species. So if let's say the analysis can tell you this area is very highly infested with Aedes mosquitoes, so how can we design the building so that it can deter the mosquitoes from invading to the building? Birds, yes, birds. Human love to feed birds. Is bird a pet or a pest? If let's say it's just one or two birds, yes, it's a pet. It's a lovely pet. But if you do not know the impact, if you keep on every day, you throw some grains on the floor and you feed the birds, you are actually inviting a flock of birds. From one flock can become two flocks. From one species of birds, you can become more. Just for example, you can have crows and pigeons and any other type of birds. Then it will become pests. It's an infestation at that area already. And birds normally seek for food, shades, and shelters to survive. Next, let me touch on rats. Rats is the same thing. If let's say the surrounding is very dirty and I cannot tell you this area is highly infested with rats, so how can you design the building? Other than doing the analysis or survey at the surroundings, you need to understand what type of buildings are you going to build. So it is not, if can, that is very good. If let's say I spare all the specs, all the job scope, cover all the pests, that would be very good. But reality is reality. When you come to construction, not everyone will buy the points of doing a perfect uh, design. So if let's say type of building means, if let's say you know you are going to build a hospital, okay, so what are the level that you need to give to your client? So the expectations, you need to understand the client expectations, understand the building owner expectation towards pest tolerance level. This is very important. Just like hospital is a very sensitive area. So you must understand the layout, which are their sensitive area. Okay, sensitive area is like OT, the ICU, so all these are sensitive areas. So they cannot afford to have even one fly into the OT room. Okay, so next is like mall also. When you talk about sensitive level of mall, food, the food court, lower ground or ground floor or second or third floor, wherever you have food store, those are the sensitive area. And what are the things that you need to look into? Okay, and commercial buildings as well. Commercial buildings mainly is, if let's say you have a rooftop garden, so how's the piping? How do you invite the rodents from the external compound and run up to the rooftop? And another one is a school. It can be schools. Okay, so if school, let's say the area is heavily or they have a high pressure of a mosquitoes infestation, what are they going to do? They cannot afford to have any mosquitoes or Aedes at the surrounding. Okay, let us move into fly first. If the evidence and physical inspection at the surrounding supporting that the construction area, okay, is heavily infested with flies, what are you supposed to do? If let's say the area is heavily infested with flies, okay, normally the survey has to be done about, just as I mentioned to you already, flies can fly up to 20 to 30 kilometers, 5 to 20 miles. So you actually have to work with the land surveyor, ask them to find out what are the location, whether there's any wet market or seafood restaurant, whether it's near to the seashore. If let's say that area you see is a very high potential for fly infestation, that building, I would advise not to have open concept for food and beverage stores. You do not want the customers to go and enjoy their food with flies flying around, because food actually can lead a great food smells and attract the flies to infest the building. This, I give you the example of glass doors. It applies to all the entrance doors. Okay, this is a very common thing which I've seen. You see here, this is very common. A lot of people, they just install the glass door, but actually it creates a very big gap for flies to fly in. Okay, the best way is, if you have this type of gap, you need to close it or with a rubber gasket. Okay, and the maximum opening for the size is 2 millimeter. So you cannot have any size more than 2 millimeter, because the fly can fly through it. Okay, this thing also that have to solve it. And if you understand flies, you can go Cameron Highlands also, you can see a lot of flies. They like to mingle around at the floor. So like all this gap, bottom of the door of the glass door, if let's say the gap is more than 2 millimeter, they can actually slowly come from the external compound to the internal compound. Okay. Next is the swing door. Of course, there's no research doing how fast you need to ensure the swing door to be closed, because pest is just like human. If you open it long, definitely you invite a lot of pests to go in. These specs actually I refer to Information and Technical Assistance on the Americans with Disabilities Act. They actually conduct a research based on many sectors, and they conclude that the closing or swing speed must not be faster than 5 seconds. If you talk about pests, of course, the faster you close it, the better it is, but it does not apply just solely on pests. We have to look into a lot of angles. So like these specs, I'll take it, the closing or it is must not be faster than 5 seconds. Okay. So how to check? This diagram actually checking, this show how to check. You need to open the door here from back check to swing speed until here, no more than 5 seconds. A curtain. If let's say that area has been identified is heavily infested with flies, and you know that you cannot afford to allow flies to go in, other than designing the doors, you might increase air curtain specs for heavy traffic. Okay, air curtain at the entrance door. I'm going to show you this video. I'm not promoting the brand. I just choose it randomly from YouTube, which I think this is something which I would like to show with everyone of you. Please focus on how they repel the flies. Okay. Okay, I believe in egg curtain because during my internship, I was attached to an insecticide company. Okay, in entomology lab, we culture insects, so we culture flies, and we run a field trial, which we install an egg curtain at the door, and we actually release the flies from the external, so to see whether they can really pass through the air curtain or not. So even though you install air curtain, you must know the speed. Speed 1, speed 2 actually is not good enough because the flies can actually fly through the door and enter to the internal compound. When we press to the higher speed, that is a speed 3, it really repels the flies. And we have tried it a couple of times, and that's why I would like to share that air curtains really works. Okay. Okay. If let's say that area you feel that is very, very heavily infested, perhaps you need to look into double door system. This is a double door system. And perhaps you also can include double air curtain system. So this will be a very good if you really want to look into repelling the flies. Strips curtain. Strips curtain actually you will use it a lot at the factory. Plus those like supermarket, the loading bay area. The specs of strip curtains you have to see. Like here, this is not right. Okay, which is not overlapping and it creates crevices here, the gap here, all the insects can fly in. Whereas on the right, this is the right way of installing strips curtain. You have to overlap each and every layer of the strips curtain to have a good protection. Case study. Okay, let me share with you some case study. This is what I experienced. LCCT budget airport. Many years ago, every of us go to LCCT budget airport. And what my experience is that F&B outlet, okay, are all open concept. Maybe it's because it's a budget airport, but they are facing a very serious issue that is flies infestation. And their food has a great smell which attract a lot of flies to the F&B outlets. So I went there to conduct the treatment every day, and I spent weeks there to study on the flies behavior, and I told them you cannot get rid of it. Okay, the F&B outlet there is running for 24 hours, 7 days a week. Okay, and it's open concept. Open concept means yeah, it's really open concept, no glass, everything. And I told them you need to install glass panel. You need to install a proper entrance door, maybe a glass door, so that we can stop the flies from outside coming to the F&B dining area. So the client go and install it. But still, I noticed it's still not good enough, to be honest. Even though they built up the panels, everything already, the flies can still come in. Okay, it shows that the infestation there is very, very serious. Okay, but of course, after they put up the glass panel and the glass door, the infestation has cut down. Okay, compare it now. KLIA2. KLIA2, the design is so good. Okay, even though the design is so good, if you go to KLIA2, you go to any of the F&B outlet, which they sell laksa or Asian food or what, which have a very great strong smell. I observe because of the previous LCCT budget airport, I observe even in KIA2, when I sit down and eat, I still can see 2 to 3 flies flying around. To me, I feel very happy. 2 to 3 flies is actually a very manageable level for a pest management operator, but not LCCT. So why is it like this? Because no one knows, or the architects do not know, Sepang area is a flies infestation area. That Sepang area that have poultry farm. So if you understand poultry farm, the biggest issue is flies. Okay, each and every time when you go to poultry farm, they're actually thinking of a way how to get rid of the flies. If that area has poultry farm, that means any construction you are going to build there, you will attract flies. Remember the research which has been done by scientists, the lecturer, is actually about 5 to 20 miles. That's how far the flies can fly. So when I think back to LCCT airport, budget airport, I was thinking, if during that time, with the budget given to the architect, and someone can highlight to him that this area is heavily infested, will the design be better? So will it be a more enclosed area? And flies actually is a vector. It carries pathogens. It actually will harm our health. Okay. Let's look into mosquito. So if data analysis proven the area is Aedes species breeding ground, what shall we do? We need to understand the biological behavior of mosquito. Aedes species, I focus on Aedes because of dengue fever. Everyone is talking about dengue, so I focus on Aedes. Aedes actually is a clean water breeder. Their favorite habitat actually is tree holes. Aedes is not like other species of the mosquitoes. They don't need a lot of water. Just a very small amount of water, they'll be able to hatch their eggs. And Aedes is very, very special. The adult mosquito, the female mosquito, do not lay their eggs in the stagnant water. See here. When this area is a moist surface, this is the perfect environment for Aedes to lay their eggs. Once Aedes lay their eggs, if let's say rainy day, it will flush the eggs to the stagnant water here, and then it will hatch immediately. Aedes eggs, a lot of you perhaps you have not seen what is Aedes eggs like. Aedes eggs is just like a pool of black sand. If I don't tell you that this is Aedes eggs, you will not know. You just thought that this is a cluster of a black sand. Okay, but if you zoom into a microscope, Aedes egg actually the shape is like rodents' droppings. That is the shape of it, cylinder type. Okay, when this thing, everything we how we do actually, what I really do is how I try to highlight in the analysis report is I need to have a gadget that collect mosquitoes, and then from there we will identify type of species of the Aedes. If let's say that area is proven to have Aedes, then that is a trigger already. That area is red zone for dengue outbreak. So from there, you have to come out with the specs or just go on durable pest resistant materials. Okay. During pre-construction stage, when you talk about mosquito, of course, you have to take care of the construction workers' welfare. Because if let's say either one of your worker is infected with dengue, the authority will come after you. So why actually the construction area will be a breeding ground for Aedes? Mainly is because of this. All these are potential area for the Aedes. The cleanliness of the site, you have to look into it. And of course, you must have a mosquito management program, which normally you have all this. And plus, this is the mosquito management. This is actually a green approach, which you do not use chemical. Okay, it mimics human. They release CO2, and then all the female mosquitoes, only female mosquitoes suck bloods. Yeah, so all the female mosquitoes will go into this gadget and they lock it up. So from here, I will be able to see and identify what type of species are you having at that area. Okay. If let's say that area is heavily infested with Aedes or mosquitoes, what shall you do? Let us look into rain gutters. Okay, each and every pest, right, or each and every insect, there are a lot of points, but I just choose a few in this presentation. So rain gutters is the one which I normally see a lot of mosquito larvae uh, staying into it. Okay, so in Malaysia, if you see, we like to expose the rain gutters without any screen. So that is our Malaysian culture. For what purpose? I'm not sure. Perhaps it's the cost issue of the construction. Perhaps they feel that there's not a need for them to put any wire mesh or the screen to cover the gutters. But if you want to have a green approach for mosquitoes, this is very important. We are not looking into leaf screen. I'm looking at mosquito screen. Why is it very important? This data is extracted from WHO, the latest one. So you look at here. In year 2020, as of 11 July 2020, total reported case of dengue is 58,645. Is it very, very high? Absolutely yes. If you compare with COVID-19, everyone is talking about COVID-19. COVID-19 in Malaysia is just now I just checked is about 10,000 plus. Okay, to us is a very serious case. But how about dengue? Okay, so what I want to tell you is dengue actually is very important in Malaysia. Back to the rain gutter. Instead of just exposing the rain gutter, how about we use rain diverter to divert the rainwater directly to the downspout of this thing? Is it workable? Second thing is, if not workable, you must have a rain gutter. Why not you put a mosquito screen? So mosquito screen, the size and the mesh size has to be no more than 1 millimeter. Okay, and this one is not a plug from the sky, is from a data from the San Francisco department. If you talk about green approach, it might be new in Malaysia for pest management, but it is not new in overseas. Okay, like this one, they are just focusing on leaf, but this design is not ideal if you talk about mosquito management. The mosquito can still fly in, and you have a clean water stagnant there, and they can lay eggs, and you have the population again. When you have this sort of design, rainwater, why you want to waste the rainwater? So you talk about green building. From there, why not you move into rainwater harvesting system as well? So this is a very good approach, but my concern will be the gutter with screen on top, and this one. It has to be under mosquitoes specs. Commissioning stage. Commissioning stage is very important for us to go in to ensure all portholes at the external surrounding is closed. Okay, because later I'll show you my story. Like this, uneven floor also will be my main concern. Every time I go to the area, if let's say there's uneven floor and I can see a pool of water there, it is actually a potential breeding ground for Aedes species. Okay, let me share with you a case study. Factory. This one happened many years ago in Petaling Jaya. So they call me in, and I will not forget that round of inspection, because that factory was heavily infested with Aedes mosquitoes. Why they call us in is because MOH, the authority, went after them, and they confirmed that the larva is mosquito. So it's a hot zone for dengue outbreak. And this factory actually is not manufacture anything. They just use the factory as a storeroom, a warehouse. It's a very well-known company. I will not tell you what company is that. So they actually store all the sanitary fittings. Okay, even the warehouse is so big, they don't have enough space. They even put the sanitary fittings like the toilet bowls, the sink, everything at the external perimeter of the building. So that when rain comes, you actually collect water. Okay, just like toilet bowl, it collects water. Second thing is, when I walk in, the road is not nicely done. You have a lot of potholes everywhere, and I was very surprised. I went in and I went near to the area and have a look. there are a lot of mosquitoes larvae. Same with all the sanitary fittings at the external perimeter of the building. Okay, so that's my concern. Why in my inspection I really focus potholes have to be closed properly. Why I'm so strict in my inspection, because not everyone see what I see. You can even see the mosquito larva dancing everywhere. So that is very, very serious. So when you close all these hot holes and ensure that all the goods to be kept nicely in the warehouse, you actually reduce the breeding ground of mosquitoes. So in a way, you do not need to use any chemical application, but you are suppressing the population of mosquitoes. And that's the reason why you have to close it. Okay. This one also, during commissioning stage, is important to check at this service ledge area. It can be a breeding ground for mosquitoes. No one will think about it. Okay. But the latest design, I'm not sure. But those days I saw is a service ledge. You have a metal lid. Okay, I will share with you my story on this. Yes, so here it goes. It's campus. This is a private campus, very well-known private campus. They built a new campus at that occasion. I think running for about 6 months like that. They have a lot of pest issue, and they asked me to go in to have a look. What I know is every day they come to me, they say they got mosquitoes, which those days they do not face it. I also have to spend weeks at that campus just to understand the behavior of the pest. And each time I face this type of issue, I will do pest mapping. Pest mapping means from helicopter view, I need to jot down where the complaint comes from, what complaint is going on there, and I need to go down physically and do inspection, whether it relates with the complaint to find out the source. Everyone, when you have pests, you will come to me, you say, I want to know what is the root cause. What is the root cause? So it's not easy to find out the root cause. So we are actually like inspector, but we are not an investigator of a crime scene, but we are the investigator for pest infestation. So I spent my time there a few weeks to do the pest mapping, and finally, campus is quite big, right? And finally, I found out the mosquitoes infestation. I zoom in, it comes from a washroom, okay? And I went in, I carried my inspection, okay, just like this. I leave it up, and I was so surprised there are a lot of larvae inside there. A lot of larvae because they have stagnant water. That is what I reported to my client. And the engineer who take care of the building told me it was not supposed to have water at this area. Well, I do not know. So my job is to find out the root cause of the infestation. What I know is you have stagnant water at this area. The metal lid does not cover properly, and that's why the mosquito can fly in, lay their eggs, everything, and that's where the outbreak comes from. Okay, so each and every building, you have to look into all these things during the commissioning stage. Make sure that's properly done, no gap for any insects to go in. Let's move to bird. So area which is heavily infested with birds. How? Analysis stage is very important. Birds come because of food and they seek for a comfortable shelters. If you don't feed the birds will not come. If you see birds somewhere around or area surrounding, means they have food for them. Okay, and yeah, if you have birds, what shall you do? I can give you an example. A very good example is if you drive North Highway, Tapa resting area is heavily infested with birds. So Sampai Giza, more area, Kota Damansara, I also very surprised. I didn't go there for some time, but when I went there, wow, in the evening, the infestation there is very, very, very bad. So if let's say your construction is at this area, what shall you do? Never ever thought of having a double roof system. Okay, double roof system will not be ideal for this type of scenario. The birds love to sit for shades and shelter. If you have double roof system, I understand in green building, you will have an idea to do a double roof system because it actually cool down or reduce the temperature of a building. But if let's say that area is heavily infested with birds, if you have double roof system, all the birds will hang around here. It will be a very big issue. Okay. Second thing is they will also hang around here. To do an inspection or investigation of birds, you actually have to see timing. Normally, towards the evening time, when you have a lot of shakes, you will know where is the hotspot area of their hanging place. Like this design also, you see, there's a tree here, so the birds can be hanging around here, can be hanging around here. So it's not really an ideal idea to have a double roof system. This one as well, especially for factory. If let's say you build factory, you must understand what type of factory are you going to build. If let's say it's a food factory, there are a lot more things you have to consider. It's not just building a building, because food factory, they are very strict. You have to comply with their food certification. A lot of customers do not know how to inform the designer what are the issue they are facing, but actually building plays a very vital role for their pest management for food factory, especially area which is heavily infested with bird. Is advisable for you to install metal bird stop. Okay, the design of the factory, the roof actually is corrugated design, so it's always good for you to close the gaps, otherwise the birds like sparrow can actually fly in. And normally factory, their ceiling is very high, so it's not easy to get the things to be manageable. Case study of birds. Okay, let me share you with my case study. Moss. This client also asked me to visit the mosque, and the mosque actually is very beautiful. So I walk in, and it's very peaceful because it's a holy place. But the design of the building, when I went in, is very beautiful. When I look up at the dome, the art is so beautiful. They are facing birds issue. Why? Because the entire building, the entrance, there's no door. So they open all the way 24 hours, okay? Because that is what they want, okay? They want the nature. But that area is infested with birds. And the entire building, they also have installed the ultrasonic, which actually repel the birds away. If you want to go for that direction, do not think of buying 1 or 2 units to try. You are actually wasting your money. If you want to go for that gadget, yes, the entire building, during the construction, you have to integrate already. That is what the mosque people are doing, which is very good, I told them. But still, after some times, about a year or 2 years, they say it's not really working, and the birds start to invade to the internal compound or internal area of the mosque. Why? Because you install the gadget already. Do not leave it like that. It's not a miracle gadget. You still need someone, pest specialist, to be there, help you to tune the frequency of the gadget, to play around with it. It's just like your phone, your iOS, your Android. You have to update your version. Same with the gadget. It's not that you install one time, it's there. You have to keep on communicating with the manufacturer how to update the thing, because you will have a lot of birds and different type of species, and the frequency to deter them away will be different. Okay, so that is the case study. Okay, let's move to rodent. Rodent is a smart mammal. They love to burrow beneath the floor or foundation. Okay, they often burrow under foundation of buildings without basements. This is true. What is my case study? same campus. I told you just now that campus actually have more than one pest of issue, and this is a newly built campus, and their rats infestation also very bad. Why? Because that location is very near to the river bank. So no one telling them that actually invites a lot of rats. These are the things that will come. And the rats start to go into the building already. And that area is actually very near to their kitchen laboratory. So there are a lot of food. And the rat actually really burrow like that. I every day or I spend times, I weeks have to count the burrow. Why I need to count the burrow? We count the burrow because when the burrow number keep on decreasing means the population starts to reduce. Okay. This is the latest project case study. This is a government building. You see the design of the building. This actually is a slope. It's a landscape. It's a very big landscape, and it's a slope area, and that's why the design of the building is like that. This type of gap actually the rats can go in. A big landscape actually is can tell you you will be having a very heavy infestation of rats already. Plus, if let's say the design is like this, the rats can go in. And the internal design of that building, the floor, actually they use floorboard. Okay, so the floorboard, that means beneath the floorboard, you have a lot of wiring. So this client is facing a rats infestation issue, and I can tell you the rats actually travel through the wiring system of the building. Okay, quite a very huge building. So what shall you do? So for rats, actually is advisable if you know that is a high pressure of rats infestation, try to construct curtain walls, okay, around and below a foundation. So materials will be a concrete. The specification is 2 feet below the surface, 8 inches horizontal L. That means here, okay, 2 feet minimum. This side to here has to be 2 feet. Here maybe 1 feet, and the thickness of it has to be 4 inches. Why? Because if let's say the rat come here and burrow, what are you going to do? The rats will come here and you actually deflect the rats away from invading to the internal compound of the building. Without these curtain walls, the rats can just burrow. That is what going on in Malaysia here. The rats just burrow and they just move in here. If let's say, just an illustration, okay, this is the floorboard as what I have mentioned to you earlier. Down here are all the wiring, okay, linked to all the departments of the building. They will follow all this wiring channel, and a very heavy infestation will happen because one mother rat can deliver about 6 to 7 babies per liter. So you just imagine. Okay, this is also piping. Is a very important in order to control or manage the rats infestation. Instead of installing the piping area, which is the open end, I would suggest that the building is installed with flat valves or mesh at the downspout. So that's what you see. And the maximum opening size or mesh size for rodent is half inches, quarter inches. Okay, this is very important. And this is actually a rain gutter, right? Rain gutter. If the this is to us is rain gutter, but to the rest this is highway. Okay, no matter how tall is your building, 29 floors, 30 floors, the rest can go from the drainage system from the ground floor, go straight up to 29 floors or 31st floor. Okay, it's a highway to them. So it's good that you cover it up with the mesh. Okay, when you talk about rats, case study a lot. When you talk about rats, it's not about, I always say it's not about one F&B outlet issue. It's not one building issue. It's actually the entire area. You want to have a very good rodents management program, you need to get involved local council. Without their support, we will not be able to suppress the rats infestation at the area. Okay, all commercial buildings will face rest issue. It's just a matter how heavy is the infestation at that area. Okay, let's move to termites. I will share with you what are the current treatments which are available in the market and what is a green termites management. Termite soil treatment is nothing new. Every construction, you know you must do soil treatment. So this is how they do soil treatment. They just wet the entire area, spray with all the termiticide at the construction place. Okay, but when you go for soil treatment, you also must understand type of termiticide. Yes, normally at the consulting group, you don't really look or you don't have to know what type of termiticide is your contractor or pest control provider using, but it is always good to go for a proper way. What I'm going to share with you is a scientific research done by a professor, which in the market no one do it. You want soil treatment, people just quote you soil treatment. How much is it? They will use the chemical and according to your budget. But if you talk about termiticide, there are a lot of big manufacturers out there. Every year they spend a lot of money, okay, to do a research, come with a new technology, and still people will go for the cheapest one. Understand, construction cost is a very critical issue. The cheaper is the better. But what is the impact by not knowing the real scenario of soil treatment? In this paper, you need to understand, we need to understand what type of soils and at that construction area, what are the termiticide selection are you going to use? And now I can tell you the market, you also can find green label certified termiticides. Even though green label certified termiticide, I can tell you the active ingredients of the termiticide is still contains chemical. Okay. Okay. This research paper is called Leaching of Termiticide Containing Bifenthrin, Fipronil, and Imidacloprid in Different Types of Soils Under Laboratory Conditions. It was led by Professor Abdul Hafiz Abdul Mazid, and he's actually an entomologist lecturer, professor from USM. So, as what I mentioned, in this project, you need to identify type of soils. Yes, each and every construction is good that you understand what type of soils are you having, because when you pour chemical into the soil, you are doing some binding with the soil. How good is it? Whether there's any leaching or not, testing will actually tell you the answer. Selection of termiticide. Choose a few termiticide that you think that you want to run in this project and run a leaching analysis and understand the water solubility analysis. Why? Because in Malaysia we have a lot of rain, so you need to run this type of testing. Okay, this is a sampling point. If let's say there's one construction area, okay, you don't just take one sampling point, you take a few, maybe 20 to 30. It depends how big is the project, to be honest. But each sampling point, you need to dig approximately 45 centimeter to 50 centimeter deep. Diameter of it is 20 centimeter. And you need to classify the soil layers, top layer, middle layer, and bottom layer. Okay. From there, you run a leaching test analysis and run water solubility analysis. I will not touch in technical how he runs this because you do not need it, but you just need to know that you need that. Why is it important to have a leaching testing for soil treatment? Okay, these three termiticide actually it's just because in this research he used these three termiticide. So bifenthrin, fipronil, and imidacloprid. If you look at the graph, there's up, mid, and down. And literally is the reading of the scientific reading. What you need to look into is the up. Up is very important. Okay, before you look in the up, you see there's a yellow line and blue line. So he actually classified it into two types of soil. He is running research. So LS is loamy sand. Okay, And the blue color lines is actually sandy loam, different type of soil of the construction place. So he ran this analysis by using bifenthrin, and the reading actually is very high compared with fipronil. Okay, if you see fipronil for loamy sand is very low, and this imidacloprid is here very low. Okay, but for fipronil and imidacloprid, you look at the type of soil, sandy loam. Sandy loam actually, if you compare all the chemicals, it gives you the highest uh, concentration. So what does it tell? It tells type of soil plays a function when you pour the chemical onto the soil, whether it gives you a good reading or not. Even though these three chemicals show that sandy loam give you a highest reading, but if you look at the number, actually bifenthrin giving you the highest. So bifenthrin is a very good chemical in this. Second thing is, if you compare this chemical, actually bifenthrin can actually tie very good with the soil particles for two types of soil of his research. So if you look at these two, fipronil and imidacloprid, the loamy sand, the upper layer concentrate actually is leaching. So where does it go? It actually contaminates the environment. That means the purpose of doing soil treatment is we hope that the top layer will have the highest concentration, even though you have a lot of rain that actually run the artificial raining in this research. Okay, that is what you want to achieve. That is bifenthrin. If let's say you use the chemical, which actually after some time or in a very fast duration, the thing, the concentration go down to be like this, it does not serve the purpose. In fact, you are contaminating the environment. Where does all the chemical goes? So you should understand where does all the chemical goes. Okay, so each time when you carry out a soil testing, it's good that you run this analysis before you choose the right chemical for your project. Other than chemical, okay, you want to go for green termites management in overseas. They're actually using wire mesh technique. That means no chemical at all. They put aside the soil treatment method. They just target at all the structure which is potential to be penetrated by the termites. From there, they actually put the wire mesh, apply the wire mesh technique. I'll show you later. But the mesh of it is, the size of the mesh is very, very important. Maximum opening size of mesh size for termites is 0.6 millimeter only, yeah, or 28 mesh. Okay, like this one, during the construction stage, you can see this one, all the piping area, the termites will go through it. These are all the hotspot area which the termites will penetrate. So you use the wire mesh, you secure here before you pour your slab. Okay. Another one is when you have this type of design, you see this area actually is potential for termites to penetrate. So you also use the stainless steel mesh bedded into brickwork and pair to slab before you pour all this. So let me zoom into it. So let us see here. This is how you're supposed to lay your wire mesh. This is nothing new in overseas country like Australia and US. They've been using it many times, and actually they also giving points for green building approach because there's no chemical using. So this one also, you see the pipe, that's how you put the wire mesh here. Okay, let me show you this video, yeah? This is from US. I want you to focus, you see the size of the mesh? This is not just a piece of plastic bag, this is nothing bigger than 0.6 millimeter. Let's enjoy.
I want to talk to you today about termite protection for this new house we've got under construction right here in Willie Johnson. You know, the usual method that builders have employed over the years is to dump tons of chemicals fan of that for several reasons. Number one, we're right on the water table here. But number two, those chemicals are going to leach away and not provide the right kind of protection. So let me show you the method that I prefer. We're going to be using on this house termite mash. In fact, here it is installed already on plumbing pipe. Termites can work their way into just about any crack in the concrete slab. And the areas that are encased in walls are especially vulnerable because you won't see those termites coming in. They can do a ton of damage before you even notice them. So look at this. This termite mash is basically a stainless steel mesh that wraps around the pipe. We've got a stainless steel pipe collar here that was tightened around it. And this mesh has such a fine hole in it that the termite body cannot physically make it there. So now when we pour the concrete, you'll notice this is up off the bottom of the vapor barrier by about 2 or 3 inches. The top of the slab is going to be about here. This is actually going to embed in the concrete. And now when this concrete cracks around this PVC pipe kind of area, any termites that come on their way up are going to hit that mesh and not be able to make it through. This is a physical barrier. Now it's going to last the lifetime of the house. Now we still need to make sure we do a visual inspection easily because the termites could, of course, come around the outside of the house. You can see that dirt too coming up. So we always want to leave at least 8 inches of exposed concrete on the outside so we can see those termites. But I love this method. No chemicals. A lot of different building associations that don't recommend this for it. But even better, your homeowners have a solution that's going to last a long time. You can check out their website at terminatusa.com. And I've got more about this topic, especially concrete slabs and my blog and atlas. See you next time.
Okay, so this is the video about the mesh system. Other than soil treatment, other than the wire mesh actually that is a really green approach for green building without any chemical. In Malaysia, we also have this system that is called termites reticulation system. Okay. This actually, if I'm not mistaken, started from Australia, which you can see all the colorful lines actually is the pipe, is the piping. Okay, they run through all the entire structure of the building. Okay, and that have a refilling point. You see RP1, RP2, and RP3. I will show to you what is RP1, RP2, and RP3. But these are the main station, just like LRT like that. Okay, these are the main station which they have to install all the piping lines around the structure of the building, and they pour the chemical, okay, into it. Okay, it's a perforated piping system. Okay, so again, you are dealing with chemical. This one is just a system, but you are dealing the chemical. But the differences between this method with soil treatment is you do not have to soak the entire piece of land. They just target all the hotspot area which the termites will come and attack. Okay, the good things about this system is after 2 years, when the building is up, okay, you actually can open up RP1, RP2, RP3, and pour, reapply. That's why it's written here, retreatment system. Reapply, pour the termiticide, and treat the entire area again. But this is chemical approach, okay? So this is the RP1, RP, which I mentioned earlier. This is the station. This is the pipe. This is how they run the entire thing at the structure of the building, and they cover it. Okay. Prevention better than cure. When you come to termites, everyone also will come asking me, what is the best method to prevent from termites infestation? Okay. What do you really mean by prevention better than cure? I will normally ask them, what type of property are you staying now? Are you staying on semi-D or bungalow? If let's say you're staying in semi-D and bungalow, it's very easy because the entire building structure is controlled by you. Okay, you can actually plant some monitoring station, the termites monitoring station at the surrounding of the area, and then you need to monitor or inspect periodically. If let's say that station is hit with active termites, you just have to change it or replenish it with termite spray. And that's where they will actually bring the bait and eliminate the entire colony of the nest. Second thing is if you're staying at terrace house and condominium, if you really want to talk prevention better than cure, I would say during the construction stage, that is the best way of doing it. Because you see, Terrace house is a laying house. So what can you do? You plant station only front and back. Maybe at the back it's just a backling. You plant at the front, your car porch. But the termites might come from the ceiling. Your neighbor infested and it can link and infest your property. So if you stay at terrace house, how you prevent? Increase the frequency of inspection. You need to get the people come and do inspection, or either that you wait for the termites come and attack you, then you carry out the treatment. So, but if let's say you see what I have explained to you at the construction stage, is actually that is the prevention method by using the wire mesh or by doing the retreatment system, the reticulation system, which you can still pour the chemical. But soil treatment once you do it, after 2 years, there's no more chemical at the soil. I would say maybe less than 2 years. Depends what type of chemicals, what type of termiticide are you choosing. Okay, so there's nothing you can do. Okay. Termites. Green building is a very good approach because the entire objective of green building is to give a positive impact to the environment. But everything also have pros and cons. Okay, it's a matter how are we going to handle and manage it. To pests, you are actually inviting a lot of pests to the building. Definitely, you will have not just termites, ants, rodents, okay, or maybe garden pests. Okay, plants actually is mosquito ferret resting area. So if you are in green building, you have to ensure that you prepare a budget to go for advanced post-construction pest management treatment. You need to do a lot of monitoring before the thing becoming worse. But termites is a bigger challenge for green building. Why? You will have aerial nests. What I have explained to you earlier, everyone is just focused on the soil. We want to make sure that there's no termites coming from the ground and attack our property. But no one really look into aerial nests. Aerial nest means your nest does not necessarily come from the ground. When you have green building, your nest can be at any type and at any level because you have soil at every or each entire every level of the building. Okay, so aerial nest means the termites separated from its subterranean nest. Okay, and it is formed by alate reproductive. You look at the termites life cycle. This is queen and king mate. We have eggs hatch, become nymph here. This stage that I can actually move into workers, soldier, and this is alate reproductive. Okay, alate reproductive. Once the season or weather everything is nice or the nest is mature enough, they come out and swarm. They shake their wing off. Okay, there will be one female and male, and then they go and find some hidden area mating, and they start their nest. Okay, so this is what you how you create an aerial nest. When you talk about subterranean nest, I mentioned just now earlier, aerial nest is separated from its subterranean nest. So what do you mean by subterranean nest? Subterranean nest, there are two categories of termites here. One category is this one. You can see their nest. That is called mound nest. Okay. Second is, this is what everyone is worried about. The nest is under the ground, which you can't see. This is caused by another category of nest. I mentioned another category of termites because termites I will not talk more about biology of the termites, but what we are doing during construction, you are targeting this type of nest, okay? And in Peninsular Malaysia, the popular species is Coptotermis gastroid, which their nest is under the ground, under the earth, and they attack our property, everything. When you have aerial nest, you apply chemical or you do green wire mesh, okay, at this foundation area. But when the building is up, you can have a new nest here. Once you see the alates, you can have a new nest, aerial nest here, or another one here. So this is the challenge on termites infestation. But when you see a swarm of alex, normally it's just 1% will be successful to form a new nest. Okay, so take seriously on the pest management. Why? Because pests actually can cause property damage. It is true. Okay, just for example, like termites, if you don't do it correctly, maybe during the construction stage, you feel that there's an additional budget have to allocate for this sort of thing. But if you think long run, okay, the building owner has to think it actually can cause damage to your property. Okay, and public health management as well, because every insect, every pest carry pathogens. Pathogens is microorganism which actually can attack our health. Just for example, I take dengue fever again. Dengue fever outbreak is actually everyone's responsibility. It's not just solely a task of a pest control operator. The design of the building will help a lot in eliminating potential breeding ground of the mosquitoes. One of the example is what I have mentioned to you, the gutters, the rain gutters. So how to convince the building owner? Generate data analysis. Again, I mentioned it is depends what type of buildings are you going to build. If let's say you are helping a homeowner to build their own house, they will look into this matter. If you are building a hospital or a school, they will also look into this matter. But how can architect convince them to look into this matter? By generate data analysis. Everything has to be in data. So if you can show it to them, this is what is going on in this area, let's think about it for a greener building, for pest management. Okay, why dengue? How dengue is transmitted? Okay, because mosquito is vector. Okay, they carry virus, and dengue fever virus is called dengue, and the host is mammals. Okay, not just human, it's mammals. Okay, so uninfected Aedes aegypti, they bite here, one dengue infected person here, then they carry the virus here, and then they infect mosquitoes, transmit dengue virus to other humans. That's why each time when you have a case of a dengue patient, they have to quarantine them, just like coronavirus. So what I want to pass the message to you is, it's just like coronavirus. Coronavirus can be a pandemic outbreak. Okay, dengue, Aedes mosquito can give us the same outbreak as well. It's just the differences is COVID-19, the method of transmission of the virus is different. Okay, we are the vector, we are the host. In dengue, the vector is mosquito, the host is actually mammals. So the virus is inside their body and transmit. We need mosquito to pass the virus from one body to another body. If let's say the population of Aedes mosquito does not suppress, okay, one female mosquito can lay about 200 eggs. So you imagine half of it is female and male, and the population can grow again. So it is really, really not easy to handle, and this is a worldwide issue. Okay, COVID-19 can be very, very fast because of the virus biological of it. It is very, very aggressive and they mutate very, very fast. Okay, architecture and design. I would say architects actually are part of pest management team also. Okay, you guys design the building for a green building to give a positive impact to the environment and to the world. But you also can actually be part of pest management because each and every of your design actually plays a very vital role in suppressing the level of pest infestation. If you do not want to have chemical application inside the building, then the building itself, the design building itself actually plays a first line defense. In our pest management language, we actually have 3 line defenses. First line defense is to stop any pest coming from external compound to the internal compound. Second line defense is leave it to the pest control operator. How are they going to manage the pest? Third line defense, you need to increase a lot of inspection and auditing to ensure the system run accordingly. So by that, I think I have finished my presentation. We are going to move to Q&A session. And if any one of you who would like to be an MGPC member, please drop your email and write to membership at mgbc.org.my. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. What an interesting and insightful sharing on pests. Something so scary, but yet we can't run away from it, right? Okay,
Yes.
we have overrun a little, so I'm gonna keep the Q&A session short. I have one question here, just to check, just to share it with you. As shared by you earlier, we need to get to the root of an infestation. So, what would be your best advice, and where should one start to look, especially when they're working on designs to refurbish a building with an already an exact an a current infestation in place?
Okay. The first starting point is you must understand the environment. If you follow my presentation earlier, each and every construction you will engage land surveyor. Work with land surveyor, get them to identify whether there's any poultry farm nearby, or waste management factory nearby, or seashore, or house, or malls. And other than working with land surveyor and entomologists, also you need to go down to the location and check at the surrounding and come with a proper report, and do a proper presentation, letting them know how heavy, what are the targeted pests, what is the high pressure of a pest infestation that is going to overcome. So from there, your design can really focus already.
Right. So it looks like a lot of groundwork is required before
Yeah,
even the designing work itself, right?
true.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's about all the time we have for this evening. Thank you so much, Karen, for this insightful sharing. Really, I really learned a lot from it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time also. We would like for you to do a quick and short survey with us through the link which is now in the comment section to let us know how you think of our Architects Fast Forward webinar series. So good night and thank you again. See you soon. Thank you, Karen, again. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.